Today we're going to talk about the Elikliv HD Capture Box, a great way to bring HDMI input into your computer.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Mitch, an old guy in a drone. Well, no drone this morning, but I am out for my morning walk. And I'm thinking about what my project's going to be for today. And I just started a live stream. And putting together my studio was a project in itself, and I did make a video on that. But it didn't stop there. I'm adding another monitor because after a couple of live streams, I decided with all the real estate that I had, I needed more screen real estate. I wasn't really happy with my old Logitech webcam, so I started exploring some other solutions to get a better image of this pretty face. Now, I looked at some of the newer Logitech webcams, and in reading the reviews, there was a lot of little problems with the 922, especially the fact that it didn't seem to remember the settings, and every time you launched OBS to do a stream, you had to reset the stupid camera, which is a pain. So I decided not to go with that. The best answer, of course, is to use a decent camera. Use a DSLR or a video camera and capture the image, because you can't plug those things directly into a computer. I have a couple of cameras that have clean HDMI out, and they really don't get used all that much, especially an old Sony video camera that I've had for years. But it is 1080p and it has beautiful lenses on it, and the video that I've shot with it has been gorgeous. So I figured, well, let's start exploring some capture card options. Now that's where it gets tricky. You can go from ridiculously expensive 4K capture cards down to junk that probably doesn't work. But I didn't want to spend $200 to $300 or $400 on a capture card just for a camera to hang over my monitor and take a picture of my face. So I started, like I usually do, watching a bunch of YouTube videos and reviews on these various capture cards. And there was one that stood out because of the features that it had at the price point. And the nice thing about ordering something from Amazon is you can return it without a hassle if it isn't what it's supposed to be. So I took a flyer and I ordered this capture card, and it just came, and I'm going to do an unboxing and we'll install it and see how well it works. So stick with me through this, and maybe this is something that might help you out too. So we're going to unbox this thing now. It just came in, and this is it. Comes in a beautiful box. It's very, quality box. And let's open it up here. And this is the first time I'm looking at it. I just got it. This is the capture box itself. Is that a bag? It's in a little bag there. Let's take it out. It's very small, and looks like it's very well made. It's got some vent holes in the sides here. On one end of the box is a USB-C connector, and this does connect to the computer by USB 3, which is a high speed. It has a line in, so you can mix audio in it. It has a microphone in, so you can mix a microphone, and it has an audio, I guess that's an audio out if you want to separate the camera audio to something else, which is pretty versatile. And then, of course, it's got your HDMI in and an HDMI out pass-through. So that's pretty
pretty capable. It's supposed to work for any HDMI device, and in one of the videos I saw that actually reviewed this thing, they plugged an Amazon Fire Stick into it and passed the TV through to the computer, and one of the things that this box did was removed all of the content protection attributes from it and actually let it work. So you get a bunch of stuff with this thing here. You get this tiny little USB-C to USB regular USB-C adapter to a standard USB-C port for a computer. You get a cable that plugs into the computer, and a USB-C to go into the box. You also get a micro USB adapter should you want to use your cell phone, because this thing can actually do the same thing. You can actually capture video from this and send it to your cell phone. And then it comes with one standard USB cable, which is it's a lot of cables in here. You get a tiny little CD with some software, and from what I've seen, you're better off just letting Windows 10, it's a plug-and-play thing, so Windows 10 is supposed to have the drivers, but we'll see how well that works. And you get a pretty nice sized little manual here. And it's all in English. I thought this would have 35 different languages in it, but it's pretty comprehensive. So we're gonna go play with this thing and hook it up, and we'll let you come along with me on that adventure. So stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing I did was put this Sony video camera that I had up above the monitor, and I used some tripod adapters and a small tripod that just sit down behind the monitor, and it seems to hold it up there pretty well. One of these days maybe I'll bolt some kind of mount to the wall, but for right now it's pretty sturdy and it's not gone anywhere. It is plugged into AC, and the good thing about this old camera, since it doesn't use USB to power it, only to transfer data, you can remove the battery, plug it into the AC, and it'll just run forever. And of course, doesn't get hot or anything. And it shoots a beautiful picture in 1080p. And an added bonus is I actually have a flippy screen monitor that can see what I'm doing. On the other side of the camera, right here, is the USB out. And what I do is I just feed that over behind the monitor, and that's going to plug into the capture card. Okay, so we got the capture card, and we've got the USB cable that runs up to the camera. And over on this side here, I've got one that says in, so I'm just going to plug the camera into that. That's that simple. Then I'm going to take this the cord that came with the capture card, which has got the USB-C on one end of it. We're going to plug the USB-C into the capture card. And that's about it. Then we're going to go over here to the computer, and since this is USB-C 3.1, we're going to take the plug, and of course it's blue. We're going to plug it into one of the USB-C ports on the computer. And Windows recognized it, made a noise, and it is plug and play. And even though they ship drivers with it, from what I've read, you just don't need any drivers. You just plug it in and voila, it works. So now we're going to go over and open up OBS, and we're going to see if OBS can find the camera and I can bring it in. And if that's the case, this will be the single easiest thing I ever installed. And if it works, I'm convinced that it's probably the best bargain out there right now for a capture card if you don't need to go above 1080p. All right, so we're at the computer and we're sitting here in OBS. I've done the Very simple hardware installation of the camera. I've got the camera setting up above my main monitor, and it's working. The capture device is installed. Now I've just got to bring it into OBS. Now, in full disclosure, I of course already did this to make sure that it worked, but I'm going to go through the steps that I went through before. So let's go over here to Scenes and create a new scene, and we'll just call it Elikliv Test. Say OK. Now, when you create a new scene, of course, it goes blank, and we have to add some sources of whatever we want to put in this scene. So let's go over here to our source window, and we want to add a video capture device. Now, normally, the first time I did this, I typed Sony camera up here and created a new one, but I already have it. So I will just say add the Sony camera to the scene and say OK. And as you see, it's working. It's working. Now, I'll show you what the screen looked like, but for the time being, let me make it full screen, and that's me being captured on my Sony video camera, picked up through the Elikliv capture device, which you just saw me install. Now, I'm going to look at the properties of the Sony camera here, and you'll be able to see that the name of the device was live streaming video device. That's the name you'll see in Windows. I also have a webcam C170, a Logitech 510, this one, and a virtual camera setup for an OBS plugin that lets OBS send its output signal to anywhere I want as just a video camera. So I selected the live streaming, and I said OK, and I've got the camera in here. Now, what I also did was I went to filters and I installed two filters on the camera. One of them was to pick a 16:9 aspect ratio, and the other was the settings for the green screen. So you can see here that if I turn this down, there's my green screen behind me. And if I turn this up a little bit, eventually I will disappear. So this is how you set it up. And I did notice that the settings, because the Sony camera is sharper, the green screen works much better. Now also in the green screen settings, I also have the options of controlling the camera brightness, and I can adjust this and contrast and gamma to fine-tune the image to make it look just like I want, and I think I like that right about there. So that's really all there was to it. We close this, and then I just insert this Sony camera device into any scene that I want, move it around anywhere I want, and I'm broadcasting. And that about wraps up this very short review and unboxing of what I think, unless it fails, is probably the best value in a video capture card for 1080p. Now it does have a 30 frame a second 4K pass through, but as far as capturing to the computer, it does 1080p, and I believe it does 1080p 60 frames a second according to the manual, which would be pretty good for anybody streaming gaming. In fact, they call it a gaming capture card. Well, that was it, and I'm using it now, and it works pretty good. So other than confusing a few HDMIs and USBs, I like this thing. There's a link below in the product description if you're interested in looking at it. I think the latest price for the capture card was about $105, which makes it considerably cheaper than most of the other ones that seem to work. If I have any problems with this, I'll come back on with another video to let you know. But so far, so good. I've been using it for a day now, and it has hung in there and doesn't get too hot. Works real well. So with that, if you like what I'm doing, subscribe to my channel, ring the bell. and we will see you next time. So, as usual, take the rest of the day off, go play with your drone. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.